Thanks so much for joining us for another edition of our open mic program. And we do have Senator John Boozman with us right now. And Senator, thanks so much for taking time and talking with us.
Hey, Bob. Thank you, as always, for having me. We appreciate your show a great deal.
Well, I've noticed you've been everywhere. I've heard you on conference calls, some that I've been in. I've noticed that you have been news releases. I mean, there's so much information that I don't know, Senator. We might have to expand this to an hour program.
You know, there are a lot of good things, and I want to commend Van Buren County Judge James. He had a great conference call. I learned a lot in the sense that I was able to give good information, but also it's good to hear what's going on in the local hospital, know what's going on in the school systems and, businesses. And I'm constantly, aware of that in the sense that I am doing these conference calls all the time. But it really was unique to have all of those people on at the same time, various industries and things, and get their take. And the good news is that everybody's working together. We've got a lot of problems right now, but it seems like everyone is coming together and doing their best to solve those, and that's really what Arkansas and America is all about.
That's exactly right. That's one thing, some kudos to a lot of hard workers. We know the healthcare is doing a great job with all the hospitals, and we heard that on the conference call there in Van Buren County. The Ozark Health's done a great job. We see that in all the hospitals in the region, but what's really amazing is some of those folks we don't think about, and I noticed that there's been some money for some child care workers. Child care workers are under stress too because they're taking care of those essential people that have to go to work.
They are, and it's so difficult with the schools being out. You have these frontline workers, healthcare workers that are really in precarious situations all day that not only are they helping in that regard, but just by being there sometimes when they have children at home, it makes it very, very difficult. So in the CARES Act, the big bill that we passed a couple weeks ago in Congress, there was some dollars to be sent out to the state. Arkansas was really fortunate. They got $41 million, and so that will be distributed to help those people, again, with their child care bills, which, I think is just a good shot in the arm and another way to say that we appreciate their efforts and appreciate their sacrifice in many different ways.
Well, and one other thing that we could see, too, is we talked about the nursing homes. They've been locked down for weeks, I guess 4 or 5 weeks now, where there is no one allowed in. Even the mail cannot be brought in. It has to be left at the door, so it is locked down to just the healthcare professionals in the building. Even doctors are not allowed. So that's a lot of stress for those workers. They have to be the parents, the grandparents, healthcare worker. I mean, they have to be all of it.
You're right, Bob. And my wife is going through the same situation with her mom. She's in a extended care facility and a wonderful place. They do a great job, but nobody has been allowed to visit. And so as a result, you get in situations where those care workers, they're having to do all of the little things that loving family does. And those things, stack up. So as a result, they're busier than ever. Many of them are in situations where they're people that are living there isolated because of the fact that they might have been infected with the virus or are infected. So there's lots of stress there. And those people do such a great job anyway, and we're so appreciative. They really have stepped up and, again, have risen to the occasion, doing a great job.
And how about Suddenlink as a corporate leader stepping up and giving free internet to those K through 12, even college students that they cover in Newport and Batesville, Heber Springs, Cabot, Morrilton, Russellville, and Mountain Home? I mean, that's a lot of cities getting that. And that's something you've worked on, is this rural internet.
Broadband. Yeah. Well, I'm a co-chair of the Rural Broadband Caucus. And, you can't think in terms, when you think about infrastructure now, I used to think in terms of roads and railroads and runways, bridges. You simply can't do that anymore. Broadband is such a vital thing. You're not going to have a vibrant community if it's not available, a vibrant region. And so the fact that during this time when students are now at home and unable to learn in the conventional way, it's great to see companies like Suddenlink, and I'm sure there's many others that have stepped up and working hard to provide that service. And so it's just another great example of Arkansans working together.
One thing, too, is we've seen those checks come out that a lot of people have been thinking about, the economic impact of payments. And those are already now hitting Arkansans.
They are hitting Arkansans, and I'm really pleased about that. That's not a stimulus for so many families, Bob, sadly. This is the difference in being able to pay their rent, paying their utilities, things like that. So this is just the opportunity to put some money in their pockets so that they can be able to manage these daily things that we all have to do. The other thing is, somebody asked me yesterday, there's some confusion. Those are not taxable, and it's not a loan. I mean, that is given to those individuals, given to everyone. And so don't worry about that. Like I say, for your listeners, that's not a taxable event. You don't have to pay taxes on it. And the other thing, it is a program that's designed to aid you, and there is no payback to the program.
That is an awesome program for all of Americans because it's helping everyone. And like you said, this is just a stopgap. And another issue that is kind of something that Pam and I did with the radio station, and that is that loan program for businesses. As my CPA said, Bob, just fill it out, use it. It's 1%. It's basically a safety net because we don't know what's coming. And many businesses don't understand how easy that is. I mean, Pam and I have a great team of bankers and our CPA and firm and all that. They just took care of it. All I had to do is sign it, hand it over, and we had it within the 48 hours. It's amazing. And this is something that you don't even have to make a payment until November. So even if you don't use it, you can pay it back all in November or however it needs to be. So this is important for them to know how to do this.
You pay it back, or if you follow the guidelines, then the loan is forgiven. And that's, certainly is a big help in these troubled times. So I'm glad that you were able to make use of it. I know that in your business, certainly with advertising, things like that, with businesses being closed down right now through no fault of their own, but because the state, for good reason, is saying, no, you shouldn't be out, or very limited, the business activity. And it's really made it hard on your advertising. So I think you were wise in doing it. I would really encourage your listeners out there that haven't participated in the program, that have small businesses. And now, Bob, they're extending it to sole proprietorships. Nothing like that's ever been done before. People that work for themselves. That are also in a situation where they don't have any business. So I would really encourage your listeners, regardless of the business that they're in, they probably should check with their local banker, go to the small business website and look. That program is really a very, very good program that is so popular that it's about to run out of money, and hopefully Congress, and certainly I will vote for it. I believe I can speak for the rest of the congressional delegation. We need to actually extend that program. It was funded at $350 billion. We're trying to add an additional $250 billion so that everyone is taken care of that needs the money.
And that's absolutely true. So get a hold of your local banker, and they can help you out. They're all up to speed on it in our listening area. So that's awesome. Now, something we got to talk about. People are always saying, you and I seem like we get on the radio a lot, and we talk about a lot of neat things. Some of the food that we ate. Now, you've done a lot of shelter in place. That has been going on. I mean, we've basically been living in the studio. I haven't really left much here. And something I've noticed, I don't know if you've done this, but do you realize, if you ever had those vanilla Oreos?
Oh, yeah, they're great.
Yeah, they're awesome. But you know what? I had a life-changing moment 2 days ago. You know what it was?
What's that?
I read the package. Did you realize 3 vanilla Oreos are 100?
Don't even tell us. Don't ruin my day and your listeners' day.
It's 170 calories for 3 cookies. Now tell me, how can Bob Connell not eat more than 20 of those things sitting here on the board? We're having a boycott right now. I cannot eat any more of those.
Yeah, I know you can do that, just like I can do it. And again, most of our listeners, it's easy to open up a pack, and before you know it, most of them are gone. In fact, I thought about you before I called in for the show. I just finished the moon pie.
There you go.
And I thought to myself, if Bob were here, he would really enjoy this.
Oh, I would. I tell you what, that's what happens. That's my worst enemy. Is as much time as we spend here, we just snack, and you're not moving like you normally do. You're just doing a lot of news coverage. You don't eat well when you got to do so much conference calls and stuff. So that's great.
I was doing another radio show, and they had kind of quirky news segment right before I went on, but it said that right now most Americans don't know what day it is, and they know that because of the Google searches, for the day and all this. So we're just kind of in limbo right now, but
That's true.
It is what it is. We're all there together.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that's fantastic. Well, we've learned a lot this past few weeks. We know the president knows you personally, and I'm pretty impressed with that last interview. And now we know how many calories 3 vanilla Oreos are. Oh, my goodness.
That is scary, Bob.
It is. All right. Well, we thank you so much for taking time and updating us. We're gonna get through this together. There's some good news already coming in mailboxes now, and we do see the curve happening in Arkansas. So I'm proud of everyone in Arkansas.
There is, and too, there is in the sense that, you mentioned Suddenlink, there's so many other businesses that are chipping in and just doing their best. And then you hear the individual stories of people taking care of their neighbors and things that maybe are in health situations where they don't need to have any contact with anybody. Just that's really what it's all about. That's what the state of Arkansas is all about, and really our country as a whole. We're just truly blessed in that sense.
Oh, we appreciate you taking time and talking with us, and I'm going to go get a moon pie.
Okay. Take care. Thank you.